Hey guys, this is Patrick Carl-Sedermoon. You might know me as the guy with the most IM medals in the world, or something like that. I'm also the CGO fanatic, and you're watching Duncan Thorin Shields YouTube channel. Yeah, pleasure being here.
Many will no doubt know that TyLoo, the #1 Chinese CSGO organisation and team, have dominated competitive play within the Chinese region. Obviously, we don't often get Western teams that go over to Chinese tournaments, VeXii being one of the rare exceptions, things like the CSGO Asia Championship that PGL helped operate. Obviously, we sometimes get the likes of Renegades competing. We've had some lesser teams in terms of like some of the academy squads, Epsilon over the years, but people might not fully be aware just how much TyLoo has been winning at this domestic circuit, because you think of them as a team in terms of the West. Okay, they've had a couple of notable results. Famously, obviously, they were able to defeat Luminosity Gaming a week after the Brazilians won MLG Columbus, the major, at DreamHack Malmo. They made the playoffs. They went out immediately in the quarterfinals. Beyond that, what top finishes do they really have? Sometimes, okay, they had a top 4 at IEM Sydney this year. Beyond that, they're not making finals. They're not winning big titles. They're not getting to where you usually think of as the big prize money. And we live in the era now with the 250k tournaments of, yeah, 100k for first place. They're not getting first place. So how have they won $800,000 in the last 2 or 3 years? Let's go and have a look. So here we are. We're on the TyLoo page on esports earnings. So we look here, roster summary, CSGO, $800,000 won. That's weird because CSGO, how long have they even been around, right? Look, let's go back. They had a squad in 2013, not much, $6,000, 2014, just under 4,000, 2015, just over 9,000, 2016, $392,000, 554. Now, 2016 is the year that they had that success against Luminosity. Look, it's down here. They won $10,000 for placing top 8 at DreamHack Malmo. Beyond that, they go to, okay, we've got the minor here, 30k, okay. This is just a qualifier for WCA, 15k. This is a tournament you've never heard of in China. Let's look who competed there. $60,000 first place. Second place was a team called Born of Fire, which has Bottle in it and an old school 1.6 player called Kings. Let's have a look elsewhere. They won G League, famous esports tournament within China, 37,000. Right after that, a day later, they won International Gaming League Spring, 29,000. About 3 weeks later, they came third in a PGL tournament. It's a pro gaming league, not PGL from Romania. That got them 20,000. Right after that, they followed up with a league I've never heard of, 15,000. Esports Festival Hong Kong, 12,000. CSGO Super League. Look, in the meantime, they went to Star Series. You know that one, Season 2, the one where they were able to beat, I think it was Na'Vi, 4,500, or was it Virtus Pro? One of the two. Got 4,000 for that. Came right back home. 2 weeks later, 29,000 for that. WSG China, 14,000 for that. Another minor, 30,000 for that. Okay, 2016, wow, how are they making all this money? Then you go forwards. Not as much in 2017. 2018 hasn't even finished yet. We're just over 3/4 of the way through 2018. $200,000 won already. They won the Star Ladder tournament in Chongqing, which was obviously, let's have a look who's competing in it. I'm going to go ahead and guess just Chinese and other teams. Oh no, Team Spirit came second. They got 30,000. AGO's there. Boot, MVP, 75,000 for first place. Then you go look here. QI Invitational, where they came second, 20,000. IM Sydney, as we said, there's the 16,000 for top 4 in a massive event. CSGO Asia Championship, top 4 in an event where they lost to Virtus Pro. Na'Vi won the event, 18,000. IEM Shanghai, hey, remember that, right? 40,000. IEM event, the one that was won by the guys from NRG. The sheer amount here won by Chinese tournaments. Now, to put that in context, in case anyone's thinking, maybe CSGO has always been popping off like that. No, let's have a look at Ninjas in Pyjamas. We all know for the first year and a half, they were the dominant team. It was their era. 2012, around August it started. About 2013 and about October, that was the period where they were their most dominant, won most of the tournaments, very rarely ever lost. Let's go and have a look, shall we? So we go back to 2012, $73,000 won. Already won every single tournament they played in to get the 73,000. 2013, okay, let's just count the whole year, even though a couple of months there, Very Games was the #1 team. $241,000 won, and look how many first places they are getting. And these are international tournaments. These are competitions with the best teams in the world there. Okay, what about, was CS always like this? What about CS 1.6, right? Let's go and look. So at the end of CS 1.6, one of the best teams was Na'Vi. They came along in 2010. They won 4 majors in a row. They were a top 3 team the entire time from 2010, 2011, and the first part of 2012 before we switched to CSGO. And they actually competed through most of 2012, even when CSGO had started. So let's go look at Na'Vi. We go look here, Counter-Strike roster, only won 300,000 across those 2.5 years. Okay, what about SK Gaming? Classic lineup, Heat and Potty. Dominated the first half of the 2000s, still continued to have a very successful lineup with Robban and Valle in the 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, more like 2007, 2010 sort of period. Then 2011, you get SK Gaming with Forest and Get Right. Oh, let's have a look at how it breaks down, shall we? SK Gaming, Counter-Strike, 790,000. So TyLoo's already won more in their time in CSGO alone, and they had a squad of 1.6, they've won more than the SK Gaming rosters in all of CS history of 1.6, 1.5, 1.3, 1.1, all the way back. Now, as you can see, this is primarily from Chinese competitions, ones where you can pick up 30k, 50k, sometimes 70k, and yet you're not playing as top competition. So it's easy money for a team like TyLoo. There aren't elite teams here. Even when there's teams, it's team spirit going over. Okay, sure, sometimes it's the occasional tournament that big Westerners come from. Generally, they're farming Asian teams or lower. We're talking tier 2, tier 3, like 30th in the world, 40th in the world from the West, etc. Then you've got to look at the fact that, sure, implication here is interesting, right? Because why don't more lesser squads in the West try? Like, if you're a squad who's ranked like top 10, okay, I understand why you want to go to the big tournaments. You want all the exposure. You think you've got a chance to win. Making semi-finals is more important, even if it's less prize money, than winning a smaller tournament against lesser competition. But if you're like teams 7 to 15, you're pretty good. You can compete. You're probably never going to win one of the big tournaments. It's very rare you can even make semi-finals. Why not go to China? Get the fucking Skrilla. Sure, the way esports operates now, we're getting to the level in terms of exposure. It's not just about raw dollars. Exposure is part of the big issue because that's what converts into sponsorship dollars, and that is what adds up to the deliverables that a sponsorship wants, right? So sponsorship is the key quality. But you know what? Prestige is a big deal too. Unfortunately, these tournaments aren't prestigious. They aren't like the Major. They aren't like DreamHack Masters. They aren't like ESL. Things that people recognize, hold on to, and dream of winning. So name value for a sponsor is a big deal. You will actually give up prize money that's much, much more in exchange for the name value and trying to get competition there and prove yourself against the world's best. Because as I suggested, from the early gears of CSGO, that NIP squad over their dominant period is winning like $300,000. People often say CSGO is oversaturated. What I always say is, not the entire scene. Don't just say it as a blanket statement. Okay, if you think the top 10 teams in the world, it's oversaturated. They play too many tournaments. It's a circuit that should have less competitions in it. First of all, they choose which tournaments to take place in or have to qualify, and they don't make it to all of them. But more importantly, don't conflate all competition as being oversaturated. This type of competition is just saturated enough. You're not even getting all the top teams going there, but there's prize money on offer. I think it's cool as fuck. You can go and pick up 30, 40, 50k playing against teams just in Asia because someone's able to put up that money. Now, sure, you can question where the money comes from, how authentic it is. Do they always get paid all of it? I can't answer these questions, but I know Western teams have been. I know that TyLoo's racking up the numbers. I know that the esports earnings page is listing it all at this point in time. So this is another route to being able to make prize money. It also shows how sadly untapped, but with such potential, the Chinese market is. It's so rich in China in terms of generally, obviously, multi-billion-dollar businessmen. And then in esports, there's massive amounts of money, massive streaming contracts that allow you to host qualifiers that have big money. The sponsorships for tournaments like WSG, WC, these are monster payouts, right? If we were in a world where China really embraced CSGO as one of the big games, which is not going to do at the moment because of the publishing model, and all the Western teams went as well, what a crazy scene we could have. I mean, if they were able to give away that many hundreds of thousands of dollars to TyLoo, if everyone played CSGO in China, we'd be talking millions, tens of millions in prize money, way more than the West overall, probably. And so, sadly, this is with the teams they can get to play. And as I pointed out, CSGO versus 1.6, CSGO still wins. It's got a way bigger amount of tournaments, prize purses, even online competitions have thousands and thousands. You won a major in 1.6 towards the end, you got 30,000. You go to the best periods ever, you get 50,000, 60,000. These are for winning tournaments. I think it was 70 or 80,000 for the WEG Masters, which might have been number one. These are tournaments where you have to beat the very best teams in the world, sometimes of all time, to try and win that money. TyLoo's just farming the other Chinese and Asian teams. This video was kindly supported by Gardner Wilson, Dean Tanglis, Alex Adams, Eddie Wingfors, Andreas Snazore Westerlund, godawfulwasteofspace, Kyla Harris, Travis Greb, James Harding, Daniel Yordanov, VeXii, Robert Baxter, and a special thanks goes out to Jerky's Minion. Now, do you want to suggest a topic or a guest for my content? Perhaps you'd like to ask me a question for my monthly AMA. Would you like teasers to see who's coming next on my upcoming content and what's going to be coming down the pipeline? Perhaps you want to take part in an esports discussion with me. Well, put your money where your mouth is and join the Scrilluminati today via the Patreon link below.